the persistent buzz. The first time I heard about the Backrooms was from my colleague Mira. We were working late, the only two people left in a corporate office building that normally held 300. Outside, a November storm lashed against the windows, and inside, the fluorescent lights emitted that persistent, maddening hum that seemed more pronounced in the silence. You ever feel like this place isn't quite right? She asked, staring at the yellow-tinged walls of our office. Like you could turn a corner and suddenly be somewhere else entirely. I laughed it off, but something in her expression made me uncomfortable. It's called the Backrooms, she continued, her voice dropping to just above a whisper. Places that shouldn't exist, but somehow do. Endless yellow corridors, buzzing lights, moist carpet, if you're not careful, and no clip out of reality in the wrong area. That's where you end up. No clip? Like in a video game? I asked. Exactly. Places where reality's programming has glitches. She turned back to her monitor, ending the conversation so abruptly, I wondered if I'd said something wrong. Mira didn't come to work the next day, or the day after. When I called her apartment, the line was disconnected. HR said she'd submitted her resignation via email at 3:17 a.m. The night we'd talked, the exact time I'd woken up from a nightmare. I couldn't remember. I might have forgotten all about the Backrooms if it weren't for what happened 3 weeks later. I was heading to a client meeting downtown, running late and taking a shortcut through an unfamiliar office building that connected to the parking garage I needed. Halfway through a long corridor, I became aware of two things simultaneously. The walls were a particular shade of yellow I recognized from somewhere, and the fluorescent lights were buzzing at a frequency that made my molars ache. I turned a corner, expecting to see the exit. Instead, there was another yellow corridor, identical to the one I'd just walked through. I checked my Finino signal. My watch had stopped. Telling myself I'd simply gotten turned around, I retraced my steps. Another corridor, another turn. More yellow walls, more buzzing lights. The carpet beneath my feet felt damp. Panic rose in my throat as I began to run, turning corners at random, each revealing the same endless expanse of yellow wallpaper, stained carpet, and flickering lights. The air smelled of mildew and something else, something older and less identifiable. After what felt like hours, I collapsed against a wall, gasping. The wallpaper felt warm against my palm, almost organic, and I yanked my hand away. That's when I first heard a wet, dragging sound, like something heavy being pulled across damp carpet. It was distant, but in the perfect silence of the corridors, it carried. Whatever was making that sound was moving closer and closer. I don't know how I found my way out. My memories of those hours are fragmented, like pieces of a dream that dissolve upon examination. I remember running. I remember the smell getting stronger, mildew and decay, and something like ozone. I remember thinking I saw movement at the periphery of my vision, shapes that didn't quite register as human. And I remember the moment I burst through a door I hadn't seen before and found myself standing in the client's lobby, 17 minutes late for my meeting, with no explanation for the stains on my suit pants or why my shoes were soaking wet. The client meeting went poorly. I couldn't focus, kept losing my train of thought mid-sentence, and staring at the waltzer, soft blue, not yellow. I kept reminding myself. My boss called the next day to tell me the client had gone with another firm. I didn't care. I was too busy researching. The Backrooms began as a creepypasta internet horror story in 2019. What started as a single unsettling image and paragraph spawned an elaborate mythology, faceless entities that stalk the endless corridors, different levels with their own dangers, rules for survival, ways in and out. Most people treated it as fiction, a collaborative online storytelling project, but some insisted they'd experienced it. Their accounts shared disturbing similarities: the precise shade of yellow wallpaper, the quality of the fluorescent buzzing, the omnipresent moisture, the sense of being watched by something that moved just out of sight, lurking, and certain details that were never mentioned in the popular accounts, like how the walls sometimes felt warm to the touch, almost alive, like how time seemed to stretch and contract unpredictably, like how, after returning, they would sometimes find small patches of yellow wallpaper in their homes where none had existed before. Last night, I woke to the sound of buzzing. It took me several confused seconds to realize it wasn't coming from any appliance in my apartment. It was coming from inside the wall beside my bed. I pressed my ear against the wallpaper and heard it clearly, that same electrical hum, but with a wet, organic undertone, like something breathing through fluid-filled lungs. I pulled back quickly, heart hammering. In the dim light, I could see that the wall now had a subtle pattern I'd never noticed before, a faded yellow paisley. As I stared, a thin vertical seam appeared in the wallpaper, no wider than a hair. The buzzing intensified. I'm writing this now from a hotel room across town. I've left messages with my landlord, my boss, and my parents, telling them I'll be unreachable for a while. The hotel wallpaper is a floral pattern, blue and white. The lights are incandescent, not fluorescent. But sometimes, when the air conditioning cycles off and the room falls silent, I hear that faint electrical buzzing coming from somewhere behind the walls. And this morning, I noticed a small stain on the carpet near the bathroom door. The fibers there are slightly darker, as if damp. But how? I think about Mira often, about her last email to HR sent at 3:17 a.m. I've read it so many times, I've memorized the final line. I've found a deeper level. The walls are a different color here, but it's still the same place. If you're reading this, check your corners, check your seams, and if you hear buzzing, run the other way. The Backrooms aren't just an internet legend. They're not simply places, they're waiting. And sometimes, when reality wears thin, they find a way in.